So we can actually film outdoor sequences inside sound stages. It's much easier now with blue screens and green screens, digital effects, than it ever was. So if you look around you, probably the first thing you noticed when you walked through this stage was the large size of the doors. Well, we call these doors elephant doors. Back in the silent film days, when we were first inventing the sizes of sound stages, we simply called them stages back then. They were usually open-aired. We'd use large mirrors to diffuse sunlight onto the sets themselves. Most of them weren't even, we didn't have electricity here until the late 1920s. In fact, stage 28, right next to stage 29, is the first sound stage to have completely be-wired. Building the sets for the movie Little Fockers. They're in pre-production right now. That's when they do all the planning, all the building of the sets, but none of the filming itself. When they start filming, of course, they'll close all the doors, and if they need to make more sets, well, they'll make them somewhere else. Maybe in the Bud Westmore building where we're going next. Stage 27 is also where we built Houston's mission control for Apollo 13, directed by Ron Howard, starred Tom Hanks about the lunar landing. Well, what was going to be the lunar landing back in 1971. Now, if you look here on the right, you'll be able to see the sound stages I mentioned to you in stage 29. These sound stages were built back in the 1950s exclusively for television production. TV shows put lots and lots of pressure on the movie industry. In fact, you had many famous producers who said that television wouldn't last 6 months. People would be sick and tired of sitting in one place watching this box at home. They'd want to go back to the beautiful, elaborate movie houses. Well, of course, these producers were wrong. Movie companies suffered. Many of them went into the red so badly that they had to sell off large portions of their studios in order to stay solvent, stay alive. We built sets and we expanded at that time from 230 acres to nearly 400 acres. Now, if you look here to the left, oh, by the way, inside stages 44 and 43, we have sets for the new show Parenthood. It's going to be premiering either this fall or next. Trucks. All the equipment going into the trucks, coming out of the trucks. This is our grip and lighting department. Now you'll have trucks pull up, you'll have the workers with grips going inside that pick out all the different lights they would need for a given production, and all the materials necessary to hold the lights from the rafters, and any large diffusers or filters that they would need to make it look less like a light, more like natural sunlight, especially if it's an outdoor shot. Inside, we have about 20,000 different lights, worth about $45 million. It's very busy. We don't go inside this part of the Bud Westmore building. At any given time, they have about 30 different clients. So it's very, very busy over in this area. Come inside. And today we're going to stay kind of to the left, because these guys are going to go inside.
Ja, it's a...
Yes, I'm sure. Plastic.
Right?
Sets that they would build. These are called facades, just the fronts and the sides of the building. They're very simply constructed, as you can see over here. Very, very simple framework. On the outside, very, very, very thin poster boards, or very, very thin plywood they'll use. Over here, see we work a lot with paints. We'll paint this wallpaper to make it look older, maybe make it look like different color, maybe make it look dusty, whatever is necessary. It's all done here in the paint shop. Down there, you see the brickwork. It's not real bricks. We use a plastic material, plastic poster boards. Down at the end of the hallway, I'll talk more about that when we get to the staff shop. Now, once we'll take these large poster boards, we'll put them into a large press. We'll put a mold above it. We'll stamp the mold into place to get the appearance that you see. We'll cut it down to size, send it to the paint shop, have it painted any way you like. The glass, that's not the type of glass that you want in your house. Very, very flimsy, soft plastic. In the past, even now, we call it candy glass. That's typically what we use when you throw people through a stained glass window or you break a bottle over someone's head. It's all the same type of materials. Okay? Now, took 5 of the workers about an hour to build a panel like this. At any given time, you might have as many as 20 people working here. Right now, well, they're probably working on many of the sets that they're going to be rebuilding on the backlot. Watch out, we have a backlot. So usually rigs and tar or whatever it is properly here for the explosion so nobody gets hurt. So they can direct the explosion straight up or straight to the side, whatever they need. Also, they'll do a lot of work for the theme park up above. Superhero movie. Of course, it's not, these usually weigh about 50 pounds. Or what, 20 kilos? So they're very, very heavy. But this way, come out to the street, look around, and go back down. You can take a picture, you guys, it's a great photo opportunity. You can take a picture with these if you want. Want to hold it, want to hand it around? Just make sure it gets back to
view with it.
Sometimes it's something a little stronger. So this right here, this is made of fiberglass. This is a mold. What you would do with this mold is you would often take it apart. This one has do that for you. You have it professionally done here. Or you even go out to your house and make it the way that you want. We do all of that for our Halloween Horror Nights. Who went to Halloween Horror Nights last Friday? You guys. All of that is done by people that work in this area here in the staff shop. They went up to the main park to make the mazes. Right here you have the poster boards I was talking about. Poster boards, we'll put in a press like that one there. It's one of our big presses. We'll use those molds to press the sheets in place. And of course, to ensure that your dungeon is one of a kind, they'll literally break the mold after they're done making all the pieces for it. Also, we have different molds. Right? Kind of stronger than that. There you go, yeah, exactly. And we'll bend it, we'll bend that. Anybody else want to be strong? Anybody else? All right. Columns that they're making. This picture over here, these are all blueprints for the new backlot sets. You'll see when we get to our European sets that we're not going to have all the faces of those structures look the same. We make as many of them as different as possible so we can go anywhere in the world we need the small parts of our lot will do. If you look over here, we have latex. This is a stegosaurus foot from the movie The Lost World. So raptor claw from the Lost World. This is from Desperate Housewives. This is from the movie Industry Violence. Whenever you have a fight in a hallway inside of, next to the lockers in a high school, for example, one kid bully throws another kid against the lockers, that's what you'll use so the kid doesn't get injured. Right? Now you build the sets, make them all as beautiful as you possibly can. It doesn't mean anything until you add props and you add signage. Indicates where you are exactly and who lives there. Make the signs upstairs. That's where we're going to go next. The 1950s. Over there, do a lot of graphics in here as well. See Kirsten Dunst on the wall? You might remember that picture. It was on a billboard in Spider-Man 2, which filmed. A lot of it was filmed in our Metropolitan sets, the old ones before they burned down. Over here, does anybody watch the show Heroes?
Yep.
Kind of?
Yep.
Do you watch season 1?
Yeah.
That was the good season. Yeah. I said, no, right there, remember they had the character that his eyes would glaze over and he painted pictures? This is the nuclear fire that burns Claire Bennett. That's this one here. You can see it wasn't the only one. They made several smaller ones. I'm sorry, my finger like this? Okay. Made several smaller ones before they made that one to get the colors right, colors that were necessary for the show, how the directors wanted it. Up here, we have a map. That's the map from Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. It's made of vinyl. They made 300 of those before they settled on that one. So you can see, yeah, it's a difficult process. Of course, you need the special lighting. You need to have the right look so it shows up on camera. Now let's say, the advent of TiVo and DVRs, it's very easy to fast forward. A cut from El Pollo Loco, for example, I'm sorry. A cut from El Pollo Loco over here. Other times, we'll ask a company if we can use their name in our movie or TV show. Sometimes they say yes, sometimes it's not flattering, so they'll say no. So, we get around it by not using their name, but we'll call it Super Chain. Now this is the look of a Blockbuster Video. Okay, Blockbuster Video. Are they have Blockbuster Videos overseas? Yeah. Okay, so you know Blockbuster Video. Looks just like this. This one's called Super Chain. Gives you the right idea because it's the same design. They can't sue us because it doesn't say Blockbuster, right? So that's how we do that. So we get around that. Over here is also where we have several items put out from movies like Movie Traffic, Spastic Jack, where they transport all the drugs in those weird dolls. We also have other smaller signs. Silver Saddle Motel, Rock Band 2 for a commercial that shot here recently. We have Amelia Y, made for Desperate Housewives. Any type of signs needed, done right here. It's also where they print out all these different posters. That's what they're doing right here, right now. They're making warning, keep out signs. It's our sign shop. All right, any questions? Are we your way? Okay. Right this way. Questions? Not at all? All right. Well, now we're going to head out. They put Big Ben in there. We don't have Big Ben in Backlot. And they added all the different signs. You can see how it broke it down, all the way down to the bottom. They needed a German bike shop and an Italian jeweler. So then they made the names they needed. All right. On the floor, that's fiberglass in its natural state. We'll heat it up at very, very high temperature, put it in a very high pressure gun. We'll put the model that it's built, whether it's out of clay or styrofoam, put it on a turntable, take the gun filled with fiberglass, we'll spray the model down so it's completely covered. We'll take it off the turn, fill it with a plastic material. Then we'll throw it inside one of the kilns. So it's nice and hard, break it out, let it gel, let it cool, break it apart, send it to the paint shop, have it painted, and then it's ready to go wherever we need it to go. Hey, so it's open to us today. During the show, Desperate Housewives. Down there, you see we're working on some bricks, some brick for the backlot, the new backlot sets. You see that. What was that? Oh, yeah, they're actually doing it where This is the part of the lot where we're rebuilding King Kong, our King Kong attraction, which unfortunately, the very beginning of last season, which was earlier this year, several films, movies like Changeling, Fast and Furious, Spider-Man 2, Transformers, all shot on our New York streets. Now, if you look at your screens, you'll be able to see that we're rebuilding these sets really, really quickly. Footage, of course. It was actually routine maintenance. The question was, how did the sets burn down? They were filming a Pepsi commercial here one night. Of course, when they're done filming, they have to return the sets back to the way that they are in their original state, or their generic state, as I like to call it. So they had to do some refashioning of the sets themselves. So they're doing routine maintenance. They take the shingles that they put on the sides of the buildings, they heat up the adhesive with a blowtorch. You can see the problem when you have dry 50-year-old wood right in front of you. Then they stuck it to the sides of the walls. They waited for an hour, which was the standard operating procedure at the time, to let the material harden, make sure it didn't catch on fire. They left, caught on fire. It's a freak accident, more or less. Is it raining, or is it just me? Yeah. So, instead of going through those sets today, we have this bridge here on the right. Now, this bridge was built back in 1915 for a film called Descent. Well, that film's never completed, don't worry about the name. The point is, we're still using it today. It's one of the most active sets in Hollywood, believe it or not, and the oldest. Now, we are going to go over the bridge. We can't do it with a regular tram, so this is something that they don't get to do.
Location 2,
I don't know why, but
test 2 okay, pyro okay.
You're supposed to go over the bridge, David, and see smoke.
Test 3 okay, pyro okay.
That's smoke.
Galv test on all locations
You
okay.
should get over here very, very quickly.
Set is hot.
Okay.
Pyro is live. Repeat. Set is hot. Pyro is live. Roger that. Set is hot. Let's get the area clear and all radios and cell phones turned off.
Yay! I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. That's never happened before. All I can say is that the bridge was not built back in 1915. And of course, we're not filming anything at all up there these days. The bridge was built back in the 1970s as a real working set for TV shows, for episodes of Bionic Woman and the $6 Million Man. The bridge works hydraulically. As we pass by, if you look to your right, you'll be able to see it put itself back together. Hey, it's a duck. It's a real duck down there, by the way. Sitting there, hanging out. The bridge is able to do this because it's made of a special wood, Hollywood. Yeah, I'll be here all week. Thank you. People love fast cars. We recently released Fast and Furious, the fourth film in the Fast and the Furious series. Did anybody see that? Yep. A lot of people, I mean, hundreds of millions of people love fast cars. So in just a few moments, we're going to give you an up-close and personal look. Car is the camera. You see? Some of these cars have become as famous as the stars who've driven them, some even more famous. Some even more famous, like the DeLorean from Back to the Future, which you'll see in a moment. This mule from the film Serenity. Did anybody see that movie?
Yeah.
Me neither. Okay. We built that in the Bud Westmore building. It's made of plastic, foam rubber, and aluminum. The DeLorean from Back to the Future, that's one of 7 actual DeLoreans purchased from the DeLorean Motor Company back in the 1980s, specifically for the production. We built 8 models of various sizes for the films as well. This happens to be one of the DeLoreans that used to be driven around by Doc Brown inside the theme park. Anybody want to take a picture? It's by far the most famous picture car that we have on display. All right. And once you're done, please be seated so we know. If I fall down, please catch me. Thank you. Now, the last 3 cars that you see are from the Fast and the Furious films. Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious. The 3rd film is Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. The 4th film, Fast and Furious. The 1st and 4th films star Vin Diesel and Paul Walker. Movie makers rely on picture cars to make the movies spectacular. Combining the cars with computer-generated imagery, motion control technology, allows filmmakers to bring nearly impossible scenarios to life. So right now we're going to take you inside one of our open-air special effects stages, stage 55. It's all decked out Tokyo style. Keep an eye on these picture cars on the left. We're going to go ahead and reconstruct a large explosion that we were making for Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. You can stand up over stop if you want.
Let's see the bullet hit. And go! Smoke! Go! Fire! Go! Okay, we're clear for a full run-through. All systems checked. This one's for real, guys, so watch out. And action!
Examples of motion control technology. Great! Well done. That's all you got? You guys have any dance moves or anything? would do in real life, we would remove the gimbals using editing. Make them look like they're flying on their own. Or you'd hang them from a large crane with 4 large cables, fling them that way, or even invent new technology. For Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi developed a large slingshot mechanism. He'd launch full-size cars from here into our Metropolitan sets, which are over 100 feet away. But now we'll take you from those streets of Tokyo, we'll take you to the jungle islands of Costa Rica.
Road to Jurassic.
The props and set pieces on both sides of the trolley are from The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3. A prop is anything an actor handles in a production. Props can be as small as paper clips, all the way up to full-size grand pianos, or even larger. Then they're called set pieces. Typically they don't move, like beds, desks, or dressers, for example. On the left, you'll see the mobile lab in The Lost World. We dangled this mobile lab from our Carl Laemmle building, which we'll see a little bit later. We didn't go all the way to Costa Rica to do it. Nope, we did it here using special effects, leather effects, clever acting. It's alright, I got it in the eye also. You'll be able to see the tree stumps. These are made of styrofoam. A little bit of plaster on the outside to give that little bit of more realism. A bit of foam rubber to keep them lightweight. The branches are made of fiberglass. Large metal poles inside to give them a little bit more strength. Anybody see the movie Spartacus from 1960? Starred Kirk Douglas. Yep. Right now we're traveling down the Appian Way from the movie Spartacus. We used lots and lots of extras, lots of background actors in that movie for the fight sequences. Right now, Appian Way, we used a lot of our USC, University of Southern California film students to walk down as Roman soldiers. They thought it would be hilarious to wear their digital watches on their wrists. Nobody caught it, so you can still see watches on their wrists in that scene, the movie Spartacus. Now we have 415 acres on the lot. We can go anywhere in the world we need without leaving it. We don't get enough weather, so we can make our own. Now it's raining today, who knew? It hasn't rained since February. So we're going to give you a demonstration of how we can create our own rain, which is great, because even if it doesn't work, it's still working because it's raining. The lightning comes from light fixtures, generate 20,000 watts of power. Thunder comes from speakers hidden on top of these buildings on the right. The rain comes from a system of overhead sprinklers that are hidden from the camera's view. All we do is shoot the water straight up, falls down naturally, just like rain. But one of the great benefits of filming on a universal lot or any studio backlot is the control you have over the elements. Go ahead and show them how easy it is to turn the water off, Dave. Of course, the ground is raining. If we get too much rain here in Southern California, it leads to flash floods, and there's one heading directly for us. Flood is the result of several thousand gallons of recycled water being released from large tanks that are located at the top of the hill. They come down the hill, go underneath the bridge, where they're sucked up by 4 large pumps back to the holding tanks. You do that whole flash flood again in about a minute. We created this effect especially for the tour, but it's found its way into several films: Fletch Ribs, Earthquake, and this movie, Big Fat Liar. We have it up here too. We have one back here. We have another screen up here above my head you can look at. If you look here on the left, you'll see the Alamo, featured in Three Amigos, Twins, What's Love Got to Do With It. Here's how it appeared in Crossing Jordan, a TV show, ran for 6 successful seasons. So now we're entering the Old West. We call this area 6 Points, Texas. It gets its name because it's where 6 western streets intersect. During the silent film eras, we would film 6 different pictures here at once. We didn't have to worry about sound. That way we were able to pump out between 300 and 500 films annually, as I mentioned, many of them westerns. Cowboys always appeared larger than life in these films. Had a lot to do with how he built the sets. Many of the door frames on the left are smaller than normal, shorter and thinner, so cowboys would appear bigger and brawnier than they were. On the right side, those door frames are built a little bit larger than normal. Taller and wider, so damsels in distress would appear more vulnerable. Of course, on the big screen, both doors are painted and dressed to look the same, to make it look like the same door, just to fool the audience. We call that movie magic. We'll bring in 8 to 12 tons of a special dirt that we'll put over the roadway. It's a special heavy dirt that won't blow into the eyes of the actors or into the expensive camera equipment if the wind comes up in the afternoon, unless we really want it to. Here on the left, see right through this set. This is a large-scale facade. Facades are one of 3 types of sets that we can build for productions. Talk about the other 2 as we progress in the tour today. Now, we have taken audiences everywhere on our lot, from the bottom of the ocean to the surface of the moon, and I do mean that literally. Coming up on the left, you will see a large cylinder, which is our underwater tank. It allows the camera, crew, and director to remain dry while we film up through the hatches from the outside of the tank at the actor's inside. You'll see it on your screens here. That's how we got, you can see, it's where Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd battled a giant snake in the movie Dragnet. Also featured in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? A very memorable episode of Seinfeld, where Kramer swam across the East River. Remember that one?
I found the snake!
Now the surface of the moon, well, we're right on top of it. The asphalt road we're on now is the moon's surface Tom Hanks walked across in a dream sequence from Apollo 13. This dream sequence here. Here on the left, you see the Lion Estates gates, one of 3 pairs featured in the Back to the Future trilogy. If you look to the right, you'll see a park. That park could be any park you need. It could be Gorky Park in Russia, Hyde Park in England, Griffith Park here, New York Central Park. It was New York Central Park in a film called The Last Producer with Burt Reynolds. What we'll do is we'll film the close-ups, which you'll see the sets that are standing up over the rest, looking at us. That's the city of Grandview from the movie Ghost Whisperer of Jennifer Love Hewitt. They're filming season 5, and currently that Courthouse Square, which was where Marty McFly went Back to the Future in the movie Back to the Future, that's the only production that films inside of our Metropolitan sets these days. To be able to see that set and how it appears, take a look here. The show Ghost Whisperer stars Jennifer Love Hewitt as medium Melinda Gordon. At least it's not raining. Want to go behind? Okay. Okay. Oh yeah. Here on the right, it looks like we have a tram that was stuck in that area, so we're gonna go part of the lot that we never do on the regular tour. Hi, how's it going? Yeah, this is way behind the scenes. They don't usually come this way. But we're taking you, right here is the clock tower from Back to the Future. That's the very, very top of the clock tower. We took it off for the show Ghost Whisperer. This is our prop department. On the left, you'll be able to see many of our outdoor props, coaches, cannon, large bases, canoes, outdoor props. On the right side, we have everything from playground equipment to lampposts, to lights, to bathtubs, toilets, all the great stuff you need to make the production realistic. We're going to take you inside of our 3-story prop warehouse right now. Yes, you can take your cameras with you. If anybody needs water, let me know. Does anybody want water? I'm not going to make you stand with your mouth open, but I have water for you. Actually, David has water for you.
Robert.
Right. Yes.
Are you going to...
Do about this battery, please.
No.
Can I just put it away then?
Yeah. Oh, I got the video from
Yeah.
Yeah.
In case you couldn't get product from the Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Back here we have Beverly Hills sign featured prominently in the film Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines. The first 2 floors are larger props. Now, as I mentioned, just like inside the Bud Westmore building, anybody can rent from the prop warehouse. You have to be insured, and you have to pay it's a weekly rental fee, even though you might need it for only 1 day. We'll often have, the rich and famous come here and get 100 chairs, 25 tables for large parties. They rent from us because they know exactly what they want. Now, set decorators will come here. Inside this location, we have about 10% of our more than 4 million props inside this building. We're going to go up to the 3rd floor. Well, she said slowly. I'll call them in. We're going to come back down here and walk around this area a little bit later.
He said that was the only one. Oh yeah.
Any studios will go anywhere they're familiar with, say set decorators. Often set decorators will work for production companies. Production companies are not quote-unquote movie studios. When you think of movie studios, you should think of like the major studios in Hollywood. Major players would be Universal, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Disney, Sony, Fox. Then you have smaller studios which have production offices at the major studios. For example, on our lot we have Amblin Entertainment, we have Imagine Entertainment, run by Ron Howard and Brian Grazer. We have Dino De Laurentiis, who produced such films as the Conan the Barbarian movies, Flash Gordon, Hannibal, Red Dragon. We have everybody who come here. We have students from USC or from the New York Film Academy to different TV shows. In fact, when you walk up and down the aisles, you'll be able to see little hold tags. We actually have the whole collection right over there. The hold tags, you can hold an item for up to 2 weeks. You have to have the exact date, who you are, and the number where you can be reached, just in case someone else needs to use that item before the day you need to use it. And these are a few examples from the hold tags of some of the productions that have held items here for the last few years. Well, you know what I mean. Heard just a minute ago. Feel free to take all the pictures you like with your cameras. And look at the hold tags. Show all these different types of items.
Just like bygone times.
Yeah.
The 24-hour teller this is made at our Bud Westmore building. Instead of Visa, MasterCard. Show anything what's called Backlot. What happens is, a great movie needs to have, of course, a great screenwriter, great script, a great director, and a great editor. Editing brings it all together. Let's say you have a fight sequence. You have somebody getting hit over the head with a shovel. You need to have the loud sound effect of the shovel hitting them over the head. That's Foley effects. We'll talk about those a little bit later. Then, of course, you're not going to hit them over the head with the real shovel. You're going to use one of the fake shovels, but in an instant, without the naked eye knowing, you're going to switch it or have a cut. It's called splicing the film. They'll cut it, they'll put the real shovel in that person's hands. Then, of course, you always have to dig a grave. watch this house? Everybody. This is remember you see the skeleton in his office that he had. This is it. People often ask, how do we keep track of all these items? Every item is tracked to rent weekly. Weekly from the movie Land of the Lost. And this actually works, so I've been told. Yeah, obviously, we've used it too much, and we've probably forgotten to turn it off once or twice. Sometimes these items will go on.
Oh, yeah, the light.
We got a light, barely, but it's there. It's impressive, huh? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Look at that. Hey, look at this works. Alright, I'm done. Alright. So, the people that work here put out. Hello.
What's the original? So?
Let me take a bit of you walking.
No, you're alright. Want to run the battery down.
Guys, you see this big area is called Spartacus Square, built before the movie Spartacus. Right here is an example of what I was talking about when people want to refurbish sets, or different production companies want to refurbish the props. If it enhances our set, well, we'll leave it here. This is the way that the production company that filmed Princess Diaries 2 Royal Engagement needed to dress this area. That film came out a few years ago. It starred Julie Andrews, Anne Hathaway. And this whole area was the country of Pinocchio from that movie. As you can see, to make it look more regal, they painted the ground to make it look like bricks. Sometimes they'll bring in dirt, so they did for Spartacus in the movie History of the World Part 1. Sometimes they'll, well, make it look like bricks. They also did the same thing for the movie The Good German, George Clooney, where it was dressed as Berlin, this whole area. But we didn't come here, and possibly out in the rain, even though it's not raining right now, to see this. We came to see that. Does anyone need to use the bathroom? You?
Taking your jacket off.
Hey? I know it's not raining. Is that your phone?
Yeah, I'm just.
Who is it?
I don't know.
You leased it.
Hey? No, I don't think it was.
You want to use that for me?
Guys, if you use the restroom, the restroom when it's right through here.
I'm not something.
Facades, these are called shells. Unlike facades, just the fronts and sides of buildings, these are complete structures, but you can't film inside of them. They're not engineered that way. You can.
I think it's a whole bit sideways on to take a picture.
Make brickwork as we need it. Please don't go in there. That's all we have inside the set. The large AC/DC power boxes to make the set. Couple items. I recognize this area. This is Port Royal. Pirates of the Caribbean, the Curse of the Black Pearl. Remember the scene where you have Jack Sparrow being chased by the English? Well, he runs. He hides behind the statue, that little niche up there. British soldiers run by. He runs down the stairs and goes inside blacksmith shop. Blacksmith shop is in here. The blacksmith shop was built on a sound stage in another studio. Later in the movie, a person comes out from here, looks out over the beautiful Caribbean Sea. That was shot by the second unit in the Bahamas. Wasn't shot here. So you can see how editing plays a major role in transporting you to a different time, a different place. So that's what we did. We left it here because, well, we didn't have a 17th or 18th century, small island place. Now, to fill the walls here, is what I find really impressive. We use a little bit of plaster on the outside, but it is still made of that same plastic material. So it's very realistic. All the metal work that you see, all the rusty metal bars, it's all made of wood. Now, if you look down here at these sets, you might recognize it as the picture inside the sign shop, the Saul Bank. It's the same place right here. It's quite different than it did on those on that print. Now, the main street of Little Europe is this street here. Featuring the history of the World War I. The road is literally crawling road. Here's also Paris, that film. This was Paris, the opening sequence of the Pink Panther with Steve Martin. We had the guy in the wheelchair. It was all done right in this area. It's also where we filmed the truck or something. We filmed the all right, excuse me. We filmed the running of the bull sequence from the movie City Slickers. Pamplona, Spain. It was also done right here. That's what I did. Tortuga for Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. Over in this corner, we had a little shack built. You can still see the outline of where the shack was. That's where Mr. Gibbs was drunk, sleeping with the pigs, threw the water on him. It was done right here. Then we go through this area, to this World War I Berlin, Germany, for All Quiet on the Western Front. First film to win an Academy Award for us here at Universal. This was built 5 years earlier, 1924, for the film The Hunchback of Notre Dame. In fact, it's here where the horror movie genre got very, very popular. Monsters like Frankenstein's monster, the Wolfman, Dracula, the original Mummy, all ran through these streets being chased by the angry mobs of villagers. It was right here where this fountain is, where Quasimodo was humiliated by a drunken crowd in that scene from The Hunchback of Notre Dame in 1925. This fountain, by the way, is made of fiberglass. You can empty it out, bring in a forklift, move it from one parking lot to the next. It's not going to crack, it's not going to break. It's very easy to transport. Now, behind all of these little windows on the second floor, there are platforms. So you could put an actor up there, or a monster looking out the window, or normal crowds working up on the balconies to make it look like a small European village. Of course, every small European village needs to have a small European train station. We'll have it there, and we also have tracks that connect to our Western sets. We used to run a train back and forth, and dress the train as necessary. It's still there, but it doesn't run like it used to.
He was convinced someone was following him, trying to steal his research. He died because of his fears. That's crazy.
So we're now entering stage 50. This is called a hot set. It's fully dressed, ready for the director to call action. 34 years ago, Amity was terrorized by a man-eating great white shark. Locals had a name for this 25-foot-long killing machine. They called him Jaws. It's 34 years ago. Yeah, tied it up to the dock this morning. So if there's a shark out there or something big, you can take the dock with. Okay, it's taking the dock. Hang on. All right, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Look out! Woo! That was close. All right. Now, in reality, the shark was just as much a terror off-screen as he was on-screen. On the first day of filming, he sank to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, prompting the film crew to nickname the Trouble. This is a complete structure. But right now we're taking you down Wisteria Lane. This is where those desperate housewives live from the TV show Desperate Housewives. Huge success. All of the leaves all of the flowers are fake. Here on the left you'll see Gabrielle's house. Gabrielle, played by Eva Longoria, she lives in the Golden House here. The same home where Jimmy Stewart lived in the 1953 movie Harvey, about the rabbit that doesn't exist. Yes, he was crazy. Now on the left you'll be able to see the Lavender home. That was 1313 Mockingbird Lane, home of the Munsters. Has anybody watched Desperate Housewives? Or seen the show? You guys in the back haven't seen it? You guys don't watch it? I'm kidding. This yellow house here is where Susan lives. She's played by Terry Hatcher. The green house on the left, that's Lynette's home, played by Felicity Huffman. On your right, the blue and white house, the only home on this street with a real working bathroom, by the way. That's where Bree lives. Bree, played by Marcia Cross. Before Desperate Housewives, that home was the Hanson home from the TV show Providence. That's next to Catherine Mayfair, played by Dana Delaney. Edie Britt, who was played by Nicolette Sheridan. She lives at the end of the block. Now behind Edie's house is a large space where we can park cars. When we're filming, we can have the cars come out of that space and drive past the camera up and down the street to make it look like a real street, a little less like an actual studio. I could talk about this all day long, but a picture is worth 1,000 words. Talk is cheap when you have these pictures. Take a look. Here's Wisteria Lane.
If there is one thing everyone in suburbia can appreciate, it's a good neighbor. What the heck? Let's move that. Next morning, Edie Britt decided to announce the return to Wisteria.
When Desperate Housewives started filming here at the end of 2003, only one of the 14 homes was a practical set. They had to use 10 sound stages. Over the years, they gradually enhanced these sets, making literally half, 7 of the 14 practical sets. That way, they can use less of our sound stages. They only need to use 7 now. They can film interiors, actually build the interiors of the homes of these ladies inside the homes that we just... Those of you that have been here for Halloween Horror Nights might remember walking through these sets, right? At night. Sets made of styrofoam, wooden frames. Designed the last 1 to 3 months. They've been here 10 years. That's why we don't take the people in Whoville, live next door to the Bates Motel. Down the street from the Psycho House. Hey, look, it's Norman Bates. Hey, Norman! Norman?
We all go a little mad.
Norman Bates. What's everyone laughing at? Oh, yes. Murder is hilarious. I don't know what he's doing, but it's out here in the open. And, hey, what are you doing? How's it going? Doesn't say much. He's not a big talker. Nice guy, though. Keep your distance. Have these things happen. Sometimes he dances to the music when you play it for him. Okay, here we go. Let's just dance. Let's go knife. Let's go knife. Coming at us. Sorry! What a psycho! So now we're taking you in through the airplane crash site set from Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds. It's all decorated for Halloween Horror Nights. We're going to get out and quickly walk through it, and a lot of people like to take pictures here. So let's get out and do so. Quickly. They want us to stay off that tram route as much as possible. You can hear the trams coming from a mile away, but they've asked us to do that for them. Isn't that lovely? Yeah. Some artwork. Now this is a real plane destroyed for the scene from War of the Worlds. The scene takes place in Boston, Massachusetts, where the character played by Tom Cruise, remember he goes to his wife's parents' house to look for his wife, or his ex-wife. He's with the kids, she's not there, so they hide in the basement. Then he was woken up late at night, the sound of, well, a plane flying very, very closely during the storm. He wakes up the next day and this is what he finds. He finds this airplane crashed. It's a 747 aircraft. Last time it flew was 2003, KLM Airlines. Now about 25,000 reported miles in flight. Of course, the aluminum skin of the plane, of course, becomes exhausted and it's no longer safe to fly from all the expansion and contraction. So then they junk them at a large junkyard in the Mojave Desert. So we purchased it from the junkyard for $25,000. Cost us $35,000 to transport it from there to here. Come this way. Walk through. See that house up on the hill? That's a real house. He played the blind guy in the movie Contact. Did you see that movie? We'll rent it. Blind guy. Can't miss. Can't see you, but you can see. He's in the. Yeah, he's got a great view. But when a tram comes through, which the tram will be coming through shortly, you'll be able to hear why.
Oh, Santona. Oh. Thanks.
Zombie eating this guy. You want me to get a picture of them? Great place. Great start. Okay. Feel free to take pictures. Now the only place you're not allowed to take pictures is on the front lot. That's also the one place where you might see celebrities. We're going to go to the front lot next. We do have a lot of time. We have about an hour with David. So we're going to have David take us to the two rides on the lower lot, Jurassic Park and the Mummy, before we have lunch. We might even have time to do the Simpsons ride, but that might be pushing it. Then we'll have lunch at 1:15. All right? Okay, has everyone had a good time here on the back lot? We're going to see some of our sound rooms on our front lot as well. I know we have to take the long way back, unfortunately. And it's all because I like to follow the rules. I don't know what's wrong with me. Head this way. Shoes. Here's a scene from War of the Worlds. Our director, Rick Carter.
Set that is all designed around the vision of Steve. When we first began to sit down to talk about War of the Worlds, I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in a big neighborhood? Because it's just such something you don't see. You're doing good.